Hey guys, welcome to our channel about all things real estate.
We're two realtors in North Texas, and we're teaming up to share our expertise and tips with you.
So be sure to tune in, like, and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We are going to be discussing closing costs today. So grab your notebooks and pens and be sure to tune in.
A lot of good information because we get this from our clients all the time. What are closing costs? I thought the only money I had to bring to the table was the earnest money, which is AKA the deposit. No, there is another set of financing that you have to go through and things that you have to pay for that goes to the lender who is financing the loan, and also the title company who is basically
transferring all of that information from the previous owner over to you. Making sure you have clear title, so if you do pay off this house in 30 years or 15 years, everything is easy. It goes right into your hands with no issues. So yeah, we wanted to break that down for you from a realtor perspective.
Yes.
The best way to get this information is going to be from your lender, again, like she stated, because they are the numbers people. We don't want to get that confused, but we know what to give you to prepare and to have the name to ask your lender for this information.
And this is just a basic overview. So each transaction is different. So there may be things that we mentioned that you may not have to pay for when it comes to closing. And then there may be some things that we do not mention that you see on your closing disclosure. So this is just a basic overview. Each transaction is different. So we just want to share this information with you guys just to give you a general idea.
Yes. So I think the first thing is who's responsible for these costs. Actually, there's both seller and buyer's costs at the closing table. It used to be back in the day before this market was so crazy that a buyer could come and say, hey, I'm a good buyer. I know I'm going to get to the closing table. So if you want an easy, smooth transaction, I think you should pay a little bit of my closing costs, seller.
Well,
now that seller is not doing that.
But it's not in this market. We'll see when or if that turns around.
Right, but now they're like, girl, I got buyers lined around the corner. They're not asking for closing costs. So if you want to submit a competitive offer, that's most likely not going to be the case anymore.
Yes. So let's jump into it. So let's start with some of the costs that the buyer or buyers are going to be responsible for. So two things that you would usually pay up front. One is the home inspection. So even though we get that done in the very beginning of the process, that's still seen as closing costs.
Yes. So what we'll do is make sure that you're aware of all expenses. So that's why we're just sort of grouping that together. But technically this is something that you're going to pay well in advance to the closing table.
Exactly. So it will still be on the closing disclosure. You'll just see it as a prepaid credit. And then that's another thing, the appraisal. Now, it really just depends on what lender you go through, because some of the appraisals you pay right then and there when the appraisal is done. And then some of them you will pay at the closing table.
So it will show up as a line item on this number sheet, fee sheet, closing disclosure. All of those things will outline what you'll be paying. Now, the fee sheet is the easiest way to know what's upcoming and sort of an estimate of what to expect to bring on that cashier's check to the closing table. So other things like the appraisal she mentioned, it could be a survey as well. If we took on the survey as the buyer, and it wasn't a pre-existing, if there HOA is a huge one. If your house is within an HOA district and you're having to take on those fees and incorporate that into your mortgage.
Now, typically, survey, HOA, in a typical market, that would be a seller's cost. But with the crazy market that we've been in lately, the buyer has had to take on those additional costs just to build that strong offer in order for it to be accepted.
Absolutely. So we're gonna look at all of these ways as a negotiating tactic.
Exactly.
So you'll see other things like, things that the lender has to pay for in order to make sure you are a candidate to get to the closing table. So you'll see the things like credit reports and things that they have actually pulled on their
prepaid interest. credit report, as you mentioned.
Right. And what else? Their actual loan officer fee sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you'll see, how they get paid on this fee sheet.
Exactly. Prorated taxes. And then, you'll also see some things that the title company is charging you for.
Yes.
So document preparation fees, recording fees, and then this actually happened to me recently, a VA funding fee that is charged by the lender. So if you have a VA loan, now it just depends on you and what lender that you're going through, but some lenders, if they especially are paying for closing cost assistance and things of that nature, they charge you a funding fee for that specific type of loan. So definitely need to be aware of that whenever you do decide on which lender you want to go with.
Yes. So it's also going to depend on if you go to a broker, like a loan or a mortgage broker, and they are out there fishing for the best deal between all these different lenders for you. It's very important that you know the specifics of the mortgage you decided to go with.
Yes.
So like she's saying, it depends on lenders. That's because like if you go to a broker, you have different options, and then you can make the selection that's best for you with your broker. And then they'll give you the details of that specific lender's requirements,
Right.
additional fees. Some
Right.
lenders, require you to actually sign off on an appraisal.
Yeah.
Some lenders are actually being a little competitive in this market and saying they will allow you to waive the appraisal fee to a certain amount if you guarantee to have the cash to pay it on your own. Some lenders are not playing that game at all. They're like, no, we need the appraisal amount to match the offer amount no matter what. So,
Exactly. And then a few things for title, loan origination fees, loan title policy fees, half of escrow fees. And the list goes on. So that's just a quick general overview of some closing costs that you as a buyer will be responsible for at the closing table. And really, your realtor or your lender should be able to give you an estimate depending on the price of the home and what type of loan you have. In this range, you're looking at an average of, $7,000 to $10,000 in closing costs. So definitely make sure you get those numbers. You have that reserve in the bank so that when that time comes within that 30 days, you're ready.
yes, absolutely. So that will wrap up the overview of the buyer's closing costs. I hope you guys have found this information to be helpful, and leave any questions down below. Contact us if you need anything answered that we did not provide, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Yes.